From Season 4, Episode 9, Theories. The town's biggest mistake is about to happen. What if the people of Fromville are finally getting close to the truth, but the closer they get, the more dangerous everything becomes? Because after the latest episode, I don't think the biggest threat is the monsters anymore. I don't think it's the tunnels, and I don't even think it's the man in yellow. I think the biggest threat is the possibility that Boyd, Jade, and Tabitha are about to make a decision that they can never take back. And if that happens, the consequences could change everything heading into the final episodes of the season. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. As always, this video will contain spoilers for From Season 4, so you've been warned. Now let's talk about what could happen next, because there are several storylines moving toward a collision course, and for the first time all season, it feels like every mystery is somehow connected. Let's start with the bottle tree, because honestly, the more I think about Jade's plan, the more nervous I become.
On paper, his idea makes sense. Every person who came before them failed. Every cycle ended the same way. Every version of Jade seems to reach a certain point and then die before finding the answers. So from Jade's perspective, doing something different is the only option left. But what if the reason nobody ever destroyed the bottle tree isn't because they were afraid? What if it's because they eventually realized it was a terrible idea? Think about everything we've learned over the past few seasons. The boy in white warned Victor about the tree. Victor himself has talked about the trees changing and moving. And unlike ordinary trees, these seem to be connected to the very fabric of the town itself. So what if Jade isn't preparing to destroy a clue? What if he's preparing to destroy a lock? Because there's a huge difference between opening a door and removing the thing that's keeping something trapped behind it. And that's exactly why I think the next episode could be the beginning of a disaster. Now here's where Tabitha becomes extremely important. Because after her encounter with the man in yellow, she has information that could completely change the way Boyd sees the situation. The biggest clue wasn't the threat. It wasn't even the warning. It was the fact that the man in yellow admitted something unusual. He basically revealed that Jade and Tabitha had never gotten this far before. And honestly, I think that's one of the most important lines we've heard all season. Because if he's telling the truth, then something is different this time. Something is happening that has never happened in any previous cycle. And that raises a massive question. Why is the man in yellow suddenly getting involved? Think about it. For years, this entity has enjoyed manipulating people, watching them suffer, watching them fail. But now he's actively trying to influence events. He's giving warnings, he's making threats, he's inserting himself into the story. And to me, that doesn't sound like confidence.
That sounds like concern, which is why I believe Boyd is going to change his position. Right now, Boyd thinks the town is pushing back because the residents are getting closer to the truth. The visions, the hallucinations, the fear, the psychological attacks. He sees all of it as resistance. And if Tabitha shares everything she learned, Boyd may become convinced that they're finally threatening whatever power controls Fromville. But here's the terrifying possibility. What if both sides are right? What if finding the bones really are connected to escape? But what if finding them also unleashes something worse? That's the scenario I can't stop thinking about. Now, let's move over to Sophia, because while everyone is focused on Jade's plan, Sophia might be carrying out the most dangerous strategy in the entire town. Throughout the season, we've watched her manipulate people one by one. She has influenced Sarah. She has targeted Marielle. She has gotten inside Henry's head. And now it looks like another resident could be next. The reason Sophia worries me isn't because she's physically dangerous.
Last season, everyone believed the nightmare ended when Smiley returned. But what if that was only the beginning? What if the town took something from Fatima and now it's collecting the rest of the debt? Because if that's true, then we may be witnessing the creation of something entirely new. And if Fatima truly begins turning into a monster, it could become one of the biggest twists the show has ever delivered. Now let's talk about Henry,
because I honestly think he's one of the characters in the most immediate danger. What makes his situation so tragic is that he's not being controlled through fear, he's being controlled through hope. The visions he's seeing aren't nightmares, they're dreams, a happy family, a peaceful future, the life he's always wanted, and that's why they're so effective. People are often willing to ignore reality when they're offered the chance to live inside a fantasy. I think Henry is reaching a breaking point, and if the hallucinations continue becoming stronger, he may end up making a decision that changes everything. Whether that's choosing to disconnect from reality or following a path he can never return from, I don't think his story is heading somewhere positive.
In fact, I think we're approaching one of the darkest moments of his entire character arc. But before we finish, there's one storyline that absolutely cannot be ignored. Julie. Because despite all the mysteries surrounding Fromville, Julie may still possess the most important ability in the entire series: story walking. When it was first introduced, it felt like a game-changing concept. The ability to move through different moments and potentially uncover hidden truths should be massive. Yet, strangely, the show has barely explored it this season. And I don't think that's accidental. I think the writers have been saving it for a reason. Because if the town's mysteries are finally reaching their endgame, then Julie's ability could become the key to understanding everything. The monsters, the cycles, the symbols, the children, the man in yellow, all of it. My prediction is that Julie returns to experimenting with story walking very soon. And when she does, she's going to discover something that changes the way we view the entire history of Fromville. Because sometimes the answer isn't hidden in the future. Sometimes it's hidden in the past.